And there we have them, and as you can see now on the screen, the new Radiant Typhoon cards. And the iconic thing about those new cards from Doom of Dimensions is they are paired up with one of the oldest cards in the game, which, thank you Leo, you put on the screen there with the mystical Space Typhoon, of course.
This is the center card of the deck. All of those cards can add Mystical Space Typhoon to your hand. All of those quick play spells and also the monsters as well. They have access to that there. And this is Radiant Typhoon Vision, a card you can see in Sky Striker
I'm pretty
deck.
sure it's Chant. Oh wait, no, you're right. My bad. It's Vision, yeah. And we're using the draw effect of Vision. Ooh.
Yep, you can draw 2 cards and then discard 1 quick play spell or a Mystical Space Typhoon from your hand.
I think it's a quick
A Radiant Typhoon card or a quick play spell, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like an Allure of Darkness, but for a quick play.
Yeah, it's really strong. And now Runic Dispelling, because we are pairing this all up with Runics. It has been awfully quiet for the Runic decks in the past, also partly due to Malice being such a strong deck always in the format. Malice, not that big of a factor anymore, so maybe it is time again for some Runic decks.
And I really want to see the approach that Runix has taken through the new format that we are experiencing in this YCS, meaning that since now time is on the round and both players will eventually get a match loss, I want to see how Runic can adjust to it and how to play through the time pressure.
Yeah, and that is Radiant Typhoon Eldam, which is now just being special summoned onto the field. That is a level 3 monster, but I don't think it's that much about that particular effect of the card right now, because I think we're just searching for another Radiant Typhoon with this one.
Yeah, you can search for a Radiant Typhoon monster, and there are plenty of cards you can choose from. You can choose for a Crosea, for example, that searches you a spell card or a Megala, but there are also the big boss monsters like Radiant Typhoon Varuron, the Vibrant Vortex, or Radiant Typhoon Phonix, the Great Flame. Those cards really interact with your opponent if you're activating quick play spells, so those are powerful pieces to end your field on.
And there is Sven now as well. Sven, another level 3 monster, and now with 2 level 3 monsters on the field, I think the fact that there are level 3 monsters may actually become a little more relevant, as there is rank 3 Exceed monsters in the extra deck of Florian, which surely we're going to end on.
Dante.
I think I have to disappoint you on that one. We will have something cool coming though, but give it a moment. Also, to just generally break down what those Radiant Typhoon cards are about. So you see there is multiple quick play spell cards, and that's also why they work so well with Runix, because of course Runix also with a bunch of quick play spell cards in its arsenal. And whenever you activate a quick spell, you can just special summon out those Radiant Typhoon monsters from your hand. So sometimes Runic decks can struggle a little bit with creating monsters on the field, with setting up monsters for the opponent's turn, and just usually only relies on spell cards. But here you get monsters out so easily, and they're so versatile in what they're doing, so you just add a really different layer to the deck.
And to be honest, one thing that I just noticed and I really like about this strategy is that Runic obviously hurt a lot against Cosmic Cyclone, yet Radiant Typhoon can be changed to any quick play spell that is activated in the field. So even if our opponent has a Cosmic Cyclone, for example, we can still summon our big monsters.
Yep.
And I want to see right now how Florian will choose to advance his game state, meaning that yes, he will summon Typhoon Crosea into the field, and I want to see which Exist monster potentially will access through his 2 level 3s on the field.
I would say a card that I like is Cicada King. Oh, Dominus Impulse is being used here. Crosea stays in hand for the moment. This might take away a critical combo piece for Florian here, but we're going to go for an overlay here.
Rank 3, I told you about it, and that is one that you also haven't seen in a while. Number 75 it is, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, which can just turn one of the opponent's effect into an effect that both players will draw a card off.
Yeah, but now we have passed the turn, and Kristoffer just gets to draw a card for his draw phase, opens up the main phase, and shows his opponent, okay, you wanted to draw cards, right? This is how we do it. We draw one in draw phase and then immediately throw out an extravagance to the field to draw 2 cards here. Pot of Greed has successfully been activated if you do not care about your extract too much. Checks it out a little bit and now gets 2 free cards in hand.
And to be fair, I think that when you activate Impulse and then the Extravagance can only mean one thing in the current meta state, and yes, Mitsurugi.
Yeah.
So I think that Florian already knows.
From the hand, and there is Amino Habakiri in the hand. Murakumo, my bad. And that's always crucial when you have that hard drawn, because your opponent, when you're ritual summoning from the hand, isn't necessarily expecting it. Usually you summon it out from the deck, but here it already was in the hand, and that makes it come in really, really nicely here. And we can even chain block the on-field effect to destroy all of the opponent's monsters, so they cannot negate it with the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. And, very important, usually Hugin would be able to protect cards on your side of the field, but if it would also be destroyed itself, it cannot protect anymore.
It's a very smart choice by Kristoffer to send the Aramaso to the graveyard, a card that you usually do not need immediately. Oh, Freezing Curses is being chained here, but I mean, yes, you might not be able to out the field of your opponent, but you can force another discard.
But one thing that would be incredibly painful would just be Mitsurugi Prayers chained to that. That would be so strong. Oh, wait. It's back in the hand. What's happening here?
What is the meaning of this?
I mean, clarifying maybe the chain links.
Oh, it looks like... Oh, no, it looks like it actually is forced to stay in the hand there. We didn't activate it. Maybe we're already at resolving, and yes, we are indeed resolving. Bye-bye to our rank 3 and also to the Hugin. And now it will not be easy from here on out, because when we activate the Runic later on, we will also just have to discard another card due to that Murakumo now being on the field.
And I mean, we have said it plenty of times. When you play in the stream, you get very nervous and you feel the pressure. So it's logical for sometimes, you know, a misunderstanding can be happen when you activate cards into a chain link.
Maybe you just said okay too quickly and then you let the effects resolve. But now Florian back against the wall, still has the Freezing Curses in hand, can later on perhaps negate a card and then draw a bunch of cards, even though Murakumo is also really strong against that. And now that is so big, placed the Night Sword Serpent here.
I have an actual ruling question for you guys. We activated Pot of Extravagance at the start of main phase. Was Florian even allowed to use the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow? Because that makes both players draw a card. So he probably couldn't do that because his opponent wasn't allowed to draw any more cards because of Pot of Extravagance, right?
That's true.
Like, actually, with the Extravagance, we did not only get 2 cards, but we also sort of pseudo-negated the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. That was huge.
So we have a droplet with Pot of Greed effect, sounds like.
That is so crazy. I would say the other way around. It's a Pot of Greed with a Forbidden Chalice as well in there. Yeah. Now, oh my goodness, look at this pre-preparation of rights as well. The cards just keep coming for Kristoffer here. And Florian basically passed to 1 impulse. Couldn't get out some draws with the Runic Fountain. I'm going to ask a very important question here about the deck. If you have Hugin in the extra monster zone, how do you get rid of it? Because a crucial part of the Runic strategies in the past were just synchro summoning away the Hugin from the extra monster zone and then summoning another one to get your draws in the first turn as well. How do you do this? I don't think there's tuners.
There should not be any tuners because there also is no synchro monsters in his extra deck, but you could just possibly go into Donner as a link monster, but that's not very good on your first turn, so that would only be into a field.
You can also summon SP and activate SP, target itself to banish.
Oh, that sounds...
Yeah, I mean...
interesting, but yeah, it does work.
An option,
okay, Mitsurugi Mirror now, and I mean, we haven't even addressed the fact that Kristoffer Nielsen is bringing that pure Mitsurugi deck. It's actually my deck that I picked to win the entire tournament. I think that deck right now is incredibly strong. Also, of course, profiting off of the fact that people are dropping Drone and Lockbirds in their main deck. Yeah. And with all kind of hybrid variants of the Mitsurugi deck being hit due to King of the Pharaohs no longer being allowed in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, this pure variant that obviously doesn't need to search for the Mitsurugi pieces is so much stronger now. Oh.
This looks incredible. You have 8 cards in hand and 5 monsters on the field. And now, Florian, are you fighting back or are you going into game 2 saying, hey, maybe with the side deck I have a better chance here? But you still have the Freezing Curses. You still have Corsair as well. You can do multiple things here. But there's also Ame no Mitsurugi no Murakumo. The other way around. Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi. That can force you to discard another card. If it's a Runic card in your hand, fair play.
So, Kristoffer considering it. Oh, another Dominus Impulse! That's crazy. Still, though, Oh, Runic Fountain. And also the effect of the Crusea now activated. Does Dominus Impulse negate the activation of the card? That's what I was wondering about.
Negate the effect.
Oh, it negates the effect. Okay, so then the Runic Fountain, of course, can absolutely still be activated. But I think we're just reading our own Crusea. Like, I wasn't sure when I read the cards first whether they would activate on a new chain or whether they would immediately chain to the activation of the spell cards. So it seems like they're able to activate on a new chain here.
Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects.
Oh, that's a good one actually to have you in this situation.
Oh my days, yes.
Yeah.
If a quick play spell is activated, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand.
Oh.
I think this is on activation.
Now Magatama
is getting rid of the Runic Fountain. That is huge. Is there somehow a way to get a card into your own spell and trap zone here? I doubt it. I will say that much. Corsair, that would be crazy, or Crossair, if it just actually took the turn away. Mystical Space Typhoon is being added here.
Oh yes, that's how you do it. The classic one is onto the field, or for the moment in the hand, but it is in the game now.
That is crazy. This card adds a Radiant Typhoon card and a Mystical Space Typhoon.
You may as well.
That explains the level of the monster, I will say that.
It does, absolutely.
Now Florian is explaining, hey, as long as you don't have cards in your spell trap zone, this card cannot be destroyed. You should have waited with the Magatama for my Crusea, because that actually would work to destroy the Crusea.
But it can also not be destroyed by card effects.
Yeah, but if you activate the Magatama to destroy it, there is a card in your spell trap zone.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, true. But you can activate maybe... it's not going to be easy now. This one actually makes it tricky. I feel like Kristoffer may have caused a situation where he cannot end this game here this turn just yet. Still, great position to be in, as we are now heading into our main phase 2. Still certainly in the driver's seat here, I would say, but not winning it just yet. Going into Gallant Granite here. There's usually only one card in the first game that you're searching with this, and that is Nibiru, the Primal Being. That card does not seem that great against any kind of runic deck, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a +1, and you probably want to access SP Little Knight right now to banish the Crusade from the field, since she cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, but she can be banished.
Yeah, wait, one thing that I just realized, isn't Magatama main phase only? Let me read up on Magatama.
I don't think it is, actually.
Magatama says during the main phase, like one of those effects. Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And to clarify, now is that Impulse has been activated, so Granite cannot activate the effects since we are locked by Impulse. That's why we reverse the game state and return Nibiru into the deck.
But I think the judges are now clarifying with the players that Magatami is in fact main phase only, so I think we have to rewind a little bit. Should we go back to us for a quick second to discuss how this match is unfolding so far?
Absolutely. Let's bring it over to the caster's desk. And, well, that's one of those little things, because Magatama is also worded in that funny way where just before everything says activate this in the main phase, activate one of those effects during the main phase, and it just doesn't clarify anymore with the actual effects. But yeah, you can only basically use it in the main phase. And as we were in the battle phase there, that's going to change things up massively, because we do get... I think, do we get 3 draws? Or do we get at least 2 draws, I'm pretty sure, because there was a runic turn 1, and there was that runic now that we just activated. So that's at least 2 draws, which is huge.
And it is not only the draws, it is also the fact that we know our opponent's hands right now, and this may be a little tricky, for example, just setting a trap and then enter battle phase, so we'll be even to able to destroy the Crusade. So I think, it's a very awkward scenario, to be honest.
It is, but we have figured it out. Let's go back to the table, because we have now drawn 2 cards with the Runic Fountain. So let's see how this unfolds still in the battle phase now, as we have successfully rewinded the game state. We have drawn 2 cards with the Runic Fountain, and still with Crusade, we search the same cards that we originally planned on searching with the Mystical Space Typhoon and also the Vision.
I thought Phonix was the boss monster of Radiant Typhoon, but Crusade is putting in hours of work here, just not being able to be destroyed. buy card effects or battle if the Spell and Trap Zone is empty. If you know about the deck, or if Kristoffer had taken the time to read the card because he knew it was there from the start, he could have just set one of his prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. That is indeed the case. And I've just been informed that we should just bring it back to us quickly again, because there is still some more things, some more details to be sorted out there, and we want to, of course, make sure that the game state is exactly as it is supposed to be. But yeah, Radiant Typhoon is certainly a deck that I mean, maybe a little had on my radar, but it definitely wasn't one of those archetypes where I was like, okay, this is going to be dominating YCS Lille now. When you thought of Doom of Dimensions, you were like, oh yeah, those new DDD cards were great. Marshmallow is going to push that yummy deck certainly a lot as well. But those Radiant Typhoons went under the radar. But they are maybe going to force a Typhoon here.
For our Sky Strikers enjoyers here, I think not, because the quick play is really, really strong for a deck, to be honest.
Vision, absolutely insane. Getting you more and more draws, getting some more spells in the graveyard is also really, really cool. So I think there is a lot of room for Sky Striker in this tournament as well. But for now, this seems like a pure approach. And you can just see that the main deck monsters that are not played in Sky Striker, they are incredibly strong. They special summon themselves for free, basically, and search your cards. How much better can it be?
And I mean, I wasn't expecting to mix them with Runic, and it makes so much logic, right? The fact that you can trigger any card of each engine with the another is amazing. And I see that, and that Florian has come very, very prepared for this event. And I'm really hoping that we can see how his combos and how his idea will, go through this event.
I feel like it is the most obvious combination, though, right? Like with the Runics and the Radiant Typhoons, it's just like when I was reading those Radiant Typhoon cards, Runics plopped into my head immediately, because that just makes a perfect pair. It just makes so much sense to have them together. Still, I see your point of what to do with the Hugin in the end, but ending on a Hugin is not that bad, right? As a protection card, sorta, it's not horrible. You can still just Exceed Summon in your main monster zones.
It slows down, like ending on the turn on Hugin in the extra monster zone is not too bad, but slowing down your own turn and denying you the draws that you want to have, because you need the other runic cards that can be used on your own field for that. So you have to have a little bit of a luck of the draw, which is not something that I love in my decks that I want to bring to tournaments. But what I want to say is that this deck has found the perfect solution for the age-old problem with Mystical Space Typhoon.
Okay, tell me.
They have the trap card. Let me get it up. The Radiant Typhoon Mandate. And this card says that if you activate a Mystical Space Typhoon, you can chain it to it, and then you can target one card on the field and negate it. So if your opponent activates Raigeki, and you chain Mystical Space Typhoon, you can chain the Mandate.
In fact, negate.
Negate and destroy. Mystical Space Typhoon has never been stronger.
I've never been prouder as a Yu-Gi-Oh player to see Mystical Space Typhoon actually negating.
Mystical Space Typhoon negates, right?
Yes, now it actually does. It's the solution to all the problems Mystical Space Typhoon and Joy has ever had. And now there's a big problem for me in this discussion, because is Mystical Space Typhoon now cooler than Cosmic Cyclone?
Oh, Leo, I mean, I think I would almost be inclined to say there might be more Mystical Space Typhoons in the tournament than Cosmic Cyclones, because Cosmic Cyclone has not been very popular lately. There were times, I don't know, when we were talking like...
Rub it in, okay.
2 years ago or something, like I would be sure that it would be more Cosmic Cyclones, but right now, not a lot of players are siding that card. There's also not that many targets for it really in the format right now, and therefore it might just be the Radiant Typhoon players with their Mystical Space Typhoons taking over.
And the Sky Striker players as well, because they do not only play 3 Vision, they also play 1 Mystical Space Typhoon most of the time, because you have the option to also search that instead of taking the draws. And let's face it, sometimes offensively, Mystical Space Typhoon is absolutely important. Having a 3-off that searches you a destruction for your opponent's floodgates or whatever you feel like is super big. Also, you have play with this card yourself if you pop your A0.
You do, but speaking of offensively, I think we should be offensively jumping back into the game. We are ready to rumble again, so back to the table we go. And there we go. We are now all sorted, as it looks like, and we can continue in the main phase 2. Kristoffer is grabbing his extra deck, and I think... like, it was the plan beforehand, so it should probably just still be the plan to go for that Gallant Granite, fetching that Nibiru, or maybe not.
You have impulsed.
Oh, you're right.
And I mean, right now, it is very scary to give to a Radiant Typhoon Runic deck the option to go another turn and have so many cards in the hand, right? I would be very, very scared.
But there is no battle phase for Florian in the next turn. That is very important. But setting cards there against Mystical Space Typhoon. 4 cards. Kristoffer just has it all. Spells, monsters, whatever. But Florian, of course, also sitting there with so many cards.
Oh, Runic Flashing Fire. That's the power of the Runics. Just in the end phase even. Making sure that because Runic Fountain is on the field, we can go after those cards.
Wait a second. Not only that, he has plenty of monsters as well in his hand that he could chain to this. Okay, Murakumo was chained, of course. So we're discarding a Radiant Typhoon monster, but you should be able to.
1, 2, 3. On the new chain, we now get to activate our Radiant Typhoon, and that is the power. Like, Runics on their own, already always being able to trigger Fountain Unresolved, drawing cards, that was crazy enough. But now, additionally, also getting a big monster, in that case, the Radiant Typhoon Phonix, the Great Flame, is massive.
This card is insane. If you have one more spell card that you could activate in this turn, that would be crucial, because this card targets 2 cards on the field and shuffles them into the deck. So if you have another Runic card, use it here. No. We're going to pass here on the side of Kristoffer. Florian is picking up his cards and finds one that he does not want in this situation.
I mean, it's an easy discard for Murakumo in worst case scenario.
That is a very good point, yeah.
That's true. Oh, but there is the trap card. Kristoffer has the trap card set, the Great Purification. You may as well, he says. He tributes the Murakumo, and that's tough, really. Maybe we should have just gamble a little bit and tried the Mystical Space Typhoon first, hopefully just hitting the Great Purification so we make sure that our vision could resolve, because I don't know how much more we get to do after this. Oh. Going to search for the Mitsurugi prayers as we have used the effect of our Murakumo. And I think we're scooping things up. Game 1 eventually does go to Pure Mitsurugi in the hands of Kristoffer Nielsen.
The main deck Purification coming in clutch. That is a card that you can play in the Pure Mitsurugi variant. Wasn't too popular when Mitsurugi Ryzeal was a big deal, or in Mitsurugi Yami variants. But you're playing so few bricky cards in normal Mitsurugi because you can just work with everything that this is just a perfect fit here. Also, your end field needs a little bit of extra sealing sometimes.
And to be fair, Mitsurugi is one of those strategies that let you obviously combine it with another engine like Yami or even Orcast, we can say.
Yes.
However, when you play it pure without another engine, you need to have these extra interactions, these extra cards that will let you play through any field and then establish a minimalistic board, even with one trap card and pass your opponent. And I would like to see how those players will approach after side, inside out, the current match.
What do you side against Radiant Typhoon?
Well,
Eradicator Epidemic Virus?
If you have it, sure, go ahead, do it. But I don't think we were prepared in that fashion. So what could there be? Like a lot of the... I think Ghost Spell has been decently popular lately due to it also having very good applications against Draco Tail and also not being too bad against Yami, being able to hit the Yami Surprise when trying to bring back from the graveyard.
You can chain it also to the Synchro Monsters. That is huge. Sometimes if you Nibiru them and they only end on one Synchro Monster, you activate something and you chain it.
But since we play Impulse, maybe Ghost Spell is not an option, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I think that we may not see a Ghost Bell, but we can see other cards. For example, Digicrow would be a good option against this matchup, meaning that yes, it doesn't have a direct application, but in the longer run and in the grinding game, it can hit a very important target, or even Mystical Space Typhoon, that since Radiant Typhoon wants it in the graveyard, right?
Yep. I can see Cosmic Cyclone being fantastic in the matchup.
Come on.
I think that Cosmic Cyclone, it's time for it to fight back, right? Mystical Space Typhoon is running away in popularity right now. If you hit a Runic Fountain, that's cray-cray.
Hear me out. Dimension Shifter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. It's only the one-off, but actually it is a card that we are seeing in pure Mitsurugi decks. We are playing that because all the Mitsurugis are worded in the way that where they only have to be tributed and they don't have to go to the graveyard, and therefore, so if you're just tributing one of the Mitsurugis, even if you're activating Mitsurugi Ritual, use materials from the deck, you can still get to use the effects of the monsters that are then banished. And against a Runic deck, having Dimension Shifter is just massive because they just can't recycle all of those spell cards. Also, if a Mystical Space Typhoon doesn't go into the graveyard, I think Shifter might be a card that has some influence here in this one.
I like Shifter a lot. It's such a strong card
out
there, especially in Mitsurugi. But I don't think in the spell-based decks it is that strong. Actually, let's go back. Game 2 is about to start. In runic variants, now that I think more of it, I wouldn't play Shifter.
No, I would absolutely not. Okay, now though, second chance for Florian. Match absolutely not over yet. Still 2 more games to be played. Oh, we have hard drawn the Runic Fountain. That can sometimes be pretty good. And we have another Runic to pair it up with. Flashing Fire, ready to special summon something out. We still go for the Hugin. And I am pretty certain that we... Do we activate the Hugin? Because we are playing 2 Runic Fountains. We do. Oh, we drew the Mystical Space Typhoon as well. Ay, ay, ay. I don't think that's the card you necessarily want to draw because you can search it so freely in this deck. But we do now get to go for Chainlink free here even. We're searching for the Fountain, we're special summoning out the Crusea, and we get to draw a card with the Runic Fountain on top of it too.
Doesn't look ideal, but still sounds kind of strong. Although I thought that maybe if you already have the Fountain, you want to summon Moon in, because then you can easily go for your rank 3 place and free up that extra monster zone if you're not forced to make Hugin.
Oh.
Do we play Moon in?
We do absolutely not play Moon in.
Wow.
How the times has changed, right?
I thought I was onto something there, because the level 3 just special summoning in that zone, if you have the Fountain already, seems really strong in that deck.
Yeah. Doesn't seem too bad. Now we get to just grab from the deck the card that provides us with extra draw power here, the Radiant Typhoon Vision. And that, of course, we are going to just activate. We're trying to get more... Oh, are we? Yeah, we're shuffling our deck, okay. But didn't we have... Oh yeah, we searched this. So for a moment I was questioning whether we should have a Runic on the bottom of the deck, but we do not. So we just get to draw 2 cards. And one of them was, I think, Runic Tip. And we have a fresh Runic Fountain still in the hand, so that's massive. That is so good.
We're discarding Phonics, and that is super interesting. You might now think, hey, this is one of the key cards of the strategy. Why are we discarding this? This card can special summon itself back from the graveyard if you activate Mystical Space Typhoon. Wow.
Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, so in total we're banishing 4 cards. Do we hit anything valuable? You double Preparation of Rites, Aramasa, and look at that, Ghost Belt Haunted Mansion. Told you all, that card is good. And we do get to draw 2 more cards. What are we going to get? Maybe more Radiant Typhoon cards, maybe some tools from our side deck as well that could help us here. What are we going to get? Okay, searches for Freezing Curses.
That we need just to draw cards in order to access our side deck and find cards, for example, any going first option that Florian has choose to side in this particular matchup.
Did we start with Freezing Curses? Have we activated Freezing Curses this turn already? Because
no. Start with Flashing Fire.
Oh, we drew a card that's so crazy to draw there.
My days.
And speaking of drawing into our side deck, I think that we saw the cards that really wanted to draw into. And Florian is one step ahead and is ready for activating one of the most devastating cards in the game for the last years, Harpy's Featherstorm. It is one of those cards that, yes, you really don't want to face.
The face of Kristoffer right now. He saw a field with 2 set cards there.
Chains Mystical Space Typhoon on his own. Harpy's Featherstorm. That is funny, but that does absolutely work because now we have activated, of course, a quick play spell card, which on resolution now will give us a chance to use more of our Radiant Typhoon monsters from the hand. I love this. Just chaining Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy a card, which would be destroyed anyways.
And you can chain it to get cards out of your graveyard as well, because you have the Phonics in there that can just be special summoned from the graveyard by activating Mystical Space Typhoon.
So, what are the chainlinks, Florian? Oh, yep. Oh, we got the Varu rune as well. So we get both of our big monsters, both of the level 9s now onto the field. What a setup here for Florian. I think this is as good as it gets, really. Having both of the big ones, having runics in hand, hopefully, as well. Oh yeah, we searched for the Freezing Curses, so there definitely is another runic. That is looking good here.
Question is, was that not a little bit of an overextension after you activated the Harpy's Featherstorm already? What is there to come? If your opponent going second has breakers in his deck and he's Raigecking, you know, you lose 2 very important cards. You could have kept the Mystical Space Typhoon and use it in the end phase, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah. I get what you mean, for sure. Seems reasonable, but now Kristoffer, does he have cards like Raigeki? Checking his graveyard. For a second, it almost looked like he would be conceding, but no, we may as well try again with Pot of Extravagance. In game number 1, we have already drawn 2 cards, and we're doing that again. Pot of Greed all over one more time.
And it's very important that Mystical Space Typhoon is in the graveyard, since now all the Radiant monsters have gained the second effect and boost their own effects. And I want to see if, as you said, Leo, Kristoffer will draw into a potential Regeki, for example, or a Dark Hole in order to deal with this field.
Oh, we
but
passed.
Turn,
and
yes.
now, of course, it's good. Kristoffer can just approach this slowly, as we do not have a battle phase this turn. Florian sets another card, and we just want to go back to the next turn. I'm pretty sure we announced that we skipped the battle phase, and now it's back to Kristoffer.
Happy's Featherstorm is surprisingly less effective than I thought it would be.
If you don't have a battle phase, yes, but if you have a battle phase, for example, now that we can ritual summon, a card may be chained.
Oh my days.
Florian, I think you may... Oh, he did not chain it.
Yeah, I mean, he can wait for to see the targets that will be...
But now there is the Murakumo on the field, and you will have to discard an extra card to activate that good old reliable Harpious Featherstorm. So I don't know whether I like that too much, to be honest. But let's see.
Maybe negating the card helps you at some point here. But yes, another Harpies Featherstorm is just so crucial, having both of those. And I want to see how Kristoffer handles that situation.
Look at him. Okay, he does chain the Murakumo. Okay, we just waited for a chance to activate our last Runic. Leo, I think you were onto something with the fact that we cannot get rid of the Hugin on our side of the field in the extra monster zone.
If we have prayers right now.
But now we don't have a battle phase again.
Yeah, and if you had prayers, then Murakumo would be out of the field, it would not be negated, and then Harpies Featherstorm would have been negated. It was a very risky play from Florian's side of the...
True, all my days.
I think, did he not have another card in hand? Is there 0 cards in hand right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually crazy, yeah. You're right. That would have been heartbreaking, yeah.
And now Kristoffer is putting back the Murakumo because of Phonics, of course. Phonics can now...
But as you mentioned, Leo, I want to see how Runic can deal with this. Meaning that, yes, you activated Harpies Featherstorm, yes, you get another turn, but is it enough? Meaning that you still don't have a battle phase. You cannot end the match right now.
I think that was the most crucial part for me in the last turn, that it takes away your battle phase again, and at this point it feels like you are going minus on your own cards.
Oh, this could be the moment we do go for the SP Little Knight, though. And yes, indeed, SP Little Knight on the monster that Kristoffer said. Bye-bye to the Serpent.
Oh, Banished Serpent has been crazy in 2005 already, so this is a massive turn for him.
And he goes back over to Kristoffer. After seeing Harpies Featherstorm resolve, you do not expect the game to go for that long anymore. Another Pot of Extravagance here. Is Kristoffer really getting back into this game? How many are we banishing here even?
Sorry, I want my Time Wizard enjoyers in chat here. Banishing a set Serpent is crazy in 2025.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6... Only 3 cards remaining in the extra deck, but that's the beauty of the pure Mitsurugi deck. You do not necessarily need the extra deck to already do so many good things. Murakumo on its own is such a big threat already.
Is that his hand or his graveyard? At this point, I don't know anymore, because Kristoffer has resolved so many cards that give him extra cards.
And I mean, I really love the fact that Kristoffer has been hit with double Harpies Featherstorm, and yet he's still on the driving seat right now, and he can actually push for game, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks so good for him after being double Feather Dusted. This activation of the Freezing Curses just to get a draw was perhaps a little bit too greedy. Also, we have to take a look at the clock. We are approaching the 20-minute mark here, and we're still only in game 2. I think this is Kristoffer's turn to push for a lot of advantage here. But versus the Runic deck, you never know which cards they have in their hand. You can activate the spell cards as well.
Oh. We carefully looked through all of the resources that were banished and that are already in the graveyard. So every Mitsurugi effect right now, we need to know whether there even is a target. For that one, it's quite obvious because Kusanagi just... Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me! This is Harpies Featherstorm number 3. How is that? Like, we drew one card every turn and always just was the Featherstorm, and this is the one that seals it now. Florian with the winged beast monsters and the most powerful trap card combined with them just takes game number 2.
At this point, he's playing Harpies. He has activated more Harpies card than Mystical Space Typhoons in this entire match. So I think this is definitely considered a Harpy deck.
And I mean, if you were Kristoffer, this pressure to hit not by 1, not by 2, but from 3 Harpies Featherstorm, it's devastating, to be honest. And you need to, be strong and get back into the game, because yes, game 3 is there and you can still win it. And I mean that he really tried to get this game, and he was one prayers away from giving us an amazing interaction.
But now I want to see what is the ceiling of this deck, because so far, yes, Harpies Featherstorm, phenomenal card. It's great if you can play it, but that can't be the only reason for your deck to be performing at this level of play, being XO at a YCS. I know it's not the latest round so far, but still winning 3 rounds in YCS is crazy.
Step by step.
Exactly. So what are you capable of doing with this deck? We have seen the Phonics and the Varurum.
Exactly, yeah.
The negate monster.
The Varurun, yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, Varurun.
Okay, good. Varurun. Those are the big monsters you want to have. But then I thought you would have more advantage, especially if your opponent lets you play, because Kristoffer didn't do anything in that game.
That's true. It really felt like the resources were not really usually from the Runic deck, you get used to the fact that they always have like 4 or 5 cards in hand, but that never happened. Like, we used the Radiant Typhoon cards, but they were not really replenishing themselves. It was really weird. Like, it almost felt like he was handcuffed there, sitting there, because he always had to play with those Radiant Typhoon cards, and he could never really get off. That was weird.
I mean, he was forced to play with Harpy Featherstorm. I mean,
it's
the best scenario to be fair.
Forced to play. But I think our duelists are ready, so let's go into game 3.
And here we go, Kristoffer and his Pure Mitsurugi deck. Sometimes in the past we have seen Pure Mitsurugi decks go for a side deck, Fossil, Dyna, Pacifical. Oh, I always... Pachi, I call him Pachi. I like my guy Pachi. Oh, normal summon Saji is not the start you're hoping for.
But it's also not the worst, no? I mean...
to be fair, it is one of those cards that you really don't want to normal summon into Pure Mitsurugi strategy.
It really ain't that great, but when it goes through uninterrupted, it does still do the trick, and we have already the Murakumo in the hand to
ritual summon. I think y'all are worrying way too much. I think he's absolutely fine right now.
So the problem with Saji is that it's not a one-card combo.
The serpent!
Okay,
that hand was not great, my friend.
Okay, but if you're uninterrupted, that still works. What is happening?
Meowls! Okay.
Used on the serpent. That's crazy. And you have to discard another card here. Dispelling. But it's a Runic in the graveyard, right?
It's alright, I guess. We draw a card here.
What do you expect Meowls for this YCS?
No.
It is one of those cards that have been out of the meta due to Malice not to be so competitive like before, but as we can see right here, it's pretty good against the Mitsurugi. Obviously they can play around it, but it's a very interesting option.
I feel like it's alright against Mitsurugi, and it's decent even against Yami, I would say, because against Yami you can even hold it for your own turn, wait for them to summon back from the graveyard. You could also technically just activate it on their turn, of course, because it interacts with the field spell too, but they can just always find a way to play around it a little bit, so it's weird.
Main issue with the card is against those decks, it gets you 1 or 2 draws, so it's fine to activate it. I don't think it's worth the side deck space. Or the main deck space, because you could have high impact cards.
Hear me out. You can play a Field Breaker deck with Meowls. And just hold Meowls for your turn. It can work.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Okay, we get to search for Purification. That's always good to get. But honestly, that opening hand from Kristoffer was really vulnerable. I think if there would have just been a singular Infinite Impermanence or something, it would have just immediately been a problem for him, and he may have passed without any major moves.
I think Kristoffer used Habakiri and then sent off the Murakumo.
Is he going to special summon him though?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, because that is not great into Meowls.
Looks like he does not. Looks like he just simply keeps it in the graveyard. Yeah, he says it as well. We're not going to do any of that. Now Mitsurugi Ritual is going to Ritual summon from the deck. Is there just another Murakumo coming maybe? Because we are playing multiple copies in this.
I think if you're setting up your Murakumo in the graveyard, Futsu is the logical choice. Yeah. Go from the deck, sends the Habakiri from hand or tributes the Habakiri from hand so we can trigger it. Of course, it wasn't special summoned correctly before, so you cannot special summon it here.
Oh, and we search for Magatama. That's so nice. When you get the Mitsurugi cards going and you have those niche cards in your deck like Magatama, like Purification, and you just have the opportunity to search multiple times, that is so insanely strong. Now that's a link to, which should be IP Masquerena now as well. Huge field. Looks like it may be good enough. IP Masquerena into SP Little Knight or Dynamondo, always so good because it, with both the SP Little Knight and the Dynamondo, it deals with the card in a way that it cannot go back into the graveyard. Oh, look, we're just revealing what we have there. We have all the options, all the different interruptions.
And we don't have prayers, which may be important, to be fair, to clear out the runic spells. But I think this is a very, very solid field from Kristoffer's side.
Yeah, and the Saji. Still sticking to the game plan. Saji, his strongest trooper here, still staying on the field. I told you, not only was this a great start, it's also a great card to end your field on. Quote me on this.
Oh, okay. Draw phase, I think, is where we immediately go ahead and use the Visions. Or is it Chant this time? This looks a lot more Chant. Yeah, this is, I think, Radiant Typhoon Chant this time. I was wrong in game one, but this time around it is that one. And that one is just going to search for a Radiant Typhoon monster from our deck. A level 4 or lower, though, so we cannot get the big ones. We cannot get the Varurune or the Phonix.
Actually grabs Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, that's the other. I wasn't even mentioning that because I thought, no way we're getting Mystical Space Typhoon, but that is also technically something we can do. And this time, we should have maybe done this in game 2. But this time we try to just go after the trap card and we do hit it. That's huge. Massively well-timed Mystical Space Typhoon there because that just traded with an Omni-Negate.
And I mean, when you take the 50-50, you really feel very, very happy when you hit the correct card.
Yes, that's you. Okay, normal summon Radiant Typhoon Eldam.
Okay, doesn't want to go for a possible special summon here to not trigger the Futsu. I think he has Freezing Curses in hand, so that could be used to negate Futsu. Maybe preemptively activated, so the Magatama isn't bothering you that much. Can't dodge it. But then again, it just gets it back.
Yeah, but that's always dangerous, targeting anything with the Freezing Curses when there's IP Masquerena around, right? Because they just chain the IP Masquerena. Oh yeah, fair. Yeah, they could have done that. You're right. But not the case here. Oh yeah, Kristoffer is also reading up on the graveyard effect. That is something that they can activate in the draw phase, but they could have just dodged the Freezing Curses bad way around. Because we can just special summon out a reptile from the graveyard, and then, oh, look at that! And then tribute a different one.
Or tributes the Saji to get perhaps prayers as follow-up, or another Mitsurugi Ritual. You can special summon the Murakumo from the graveyard if you want.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case, just to destroy any monster on the field on Florian's side and just be able then to access his SP later in the main phase 2.
Yeah, it was just a weird sequencing there because you are supposed to special summon something and then tribute something else, but now we have all figured it out. The Murakumo comes back, the Saji goes into the graveyard, and it can now even use its effect, of course, which is massive. So we were trying to go into the battle phase, running over the IP Masquerena to get rid of that interruption, but now with the Murakumo coming onto the field, we can just get that monster off the field.
But how good is that really? Because that's a very early Murakumo, and now the Futsu, while it still generates an incredible amount of value, which is possibly crazy versus runic decks that cannot OTK easily, or at all basically, your interruptions are out very, very early in the game, or in the turn.
Well, you're not really worried that much about big fields with a runic deck though, right? So maybe it's okay to have that out early. I feel like the IP Masquerena into SP Little Knight or Dynamondo is just such a strong move that you just really value that more right now. But
I mean, for the SP Little Knight, you can just use Futsu at some point, get the Kusanagi back and add back more resources, and then go into SP.
Oh, okay. Freezing Curses. We could still possibly be in the battle phase, so maybe this is our way to deal with the IP Masquerena.
Let's
preemptively using it, or are we summoning even? We could also be summoning, I guess.
Yeah. Murakumo is being used as an answer here.
Oh, we're discarding Sven. And now, I mean, there is also the Sleipnir, and Sleipnir is 1500, so we could just try to attack over the IP Masquerena here. That doesn't sound too bad either.
I mean, I don't think you can attack after activating runic cards.
I mean, we're in the battle phase, I would assume.
You can attack, but you cannot access your battle phase, so since you are initially in the battle phase, you can still attack.
Okay, we're using the effect of Hugin, and we're also using the effect of Crosea, but there's not many cards left in hand here for Florian anymore. Resources aren't that great anymore. We use the effect of our Futsu now to get back the Kusanagi. This is not looking too fantastic right now for Florian, but he keeps on trying. He keeps on pushing into this field here of Kristoffer.
I mean, Crosea gives you a Mystical Space Typhoon and a other card that you can get, so you could get Visions and Mystical Space Typhoon and perhaps try and draw into a runic card if you have the Fountain developed. This could be your way to get back into this, to get all the value that you want.
Yes, but do not forget that Kristoffer still has some interaction in his side of the field that can deal with Fountain. If Fountain leaves the field, Florian has very less resources in his hand, meaning that he has a lot of cards to discard, and with Murakumo on the field, he needs to discard one card plus in each turn.
Okay, we get the Mystical Space Typhoon back from the graveyard too. That Mystical Space Typhoon has done so much work already. And we now go after the known Magatama as well. And also that one cannot be activated anymore, as this is, of course, probably still the battle phase, I would assume.
When did we go into the battle phase? I thought we were still in draw phase. Oh, are we going into an SP Little Knight now already? Taking care of the Murakumo. Now Futsu wants to activate, so apparently the freezing curses have not been used on the Futsu. This is one of those instances where I wished that we could hear the players talk.
Okay, SP Little Knight banishes both the IP Masquerena and the Murakumo, but we get back the Aramasa as well now due to the Futsu. Okay.
Now, you get two draws. You need to find
we need a runic.
Spell.
We need a runic desperately.
And another quick play spell, because if you have to discard one of those, otherwise you will lose your entire hand. This is basically a Lure of Darkness.
Oh, I think we found Flashing Fire.
Oh, and you get to discard a Radiant Typhoon card as well. Flashing Fire here on the Futsu. Kusanagi. I think all of these small Mitsurugi monsters have the protection effect that if a ritual monster would be destroyed, you can destroy them instead. Something like this.
And I really like the interaction between SP and IP. So SP was summoned targeting Murakumo to banish, then IP was activated to link summon. However, SP targeting the IP and the SP eventually to banish until the end phase. So IP could not fulfill her effect.
Okay, boys. 1, 2, 3. Just a casual draw free. We know it from Runic Fountain, but we haven't seen it in a while. But do we get something that is valuable here? Do we get something that helps us? Because next time all the resources are still there for Kristoffer. We are in the end phase immediately. That's no good news. Because now that will allow Kristoffer to push back into this.
Kristoffer pushing back into this. He has 5 cards in hand. Now it's 6. He has plenty of resources. One of the best monsters of the entire deck theme on the field, Futsu. This is looking good for Kristoffer. And keep in mind, he has battle phases.
Yes.
And to be fair, since it's a pure Mitsurugi build, we can assume that there is another Murakumo in his deck, and it's not the only copy that was banished, right? So I think now Kristoffer has a lot of options to go through. And I think if you manage to access NSP in order to deal with Fountain, you're in a very, very good place.
Okay, we're not going for game this turn then, but also the deck, even if you only play one Murakumo, you can access it by recycling your Kusanagi. It also, we have seen this earlier, takes the banished cards back to your hand. So those aren't even problems that have been dealt with permanently from the side of Florian. SP is now chaining to Futsu? Target Futsu?
We got it. We got to target the Futsu. But I mean, they could still just chain the Little Knight.
But you have, I think you have freezing curses in your hand.
But they don't even need to chain the Little Knight, to be fair.
I think the plan is here, SP Little Knight, target Futsu, and then, but okay, you would never ever activate SP Little Knight in response to that, right?
That doesn't seem very
Yeah,
good. On the other end, the freezing curses,
spot.
getting the freezing curses out of the hand would be nice, right? Like the fountain is not on the field anymore afterwards, so...
Oh wait, if you get the freezing curses off, And afterwards, after SP has been activated, you don't get rid of the Runic Fountain.
Oh yeah. Chaining the SP here is no way on earth you would do that. Kristoffer is thinking about it.
He's taking a quick look into the crowd. I think we are discussing something with the judges. So for the moment, why don't we bring it on back to us to have a little chat about the game so far while the players are still figuring out what is going on.
To be honest, I was very surprised about how well the Radiant Typhoon Runic can play going second against a Mitsurugi field, which is very, very strong, as we have mentioned before. And it dealt very, very well with, obviously, the guesser of the deck, the Mystical Space Typhoon, right?
Yes, and I think I may have figured out what was going on there, because all those Radiant Typhoon cards, they pair really well with the Runics, but there's one thing. There's always that one sentence that you keep on forgetting. Crosea, the level 6 of the deck. After it is resolved, you can only special summon wind monsters for the rest of the turn. And I think we summon SP Little Knight, right? I mean, I don't even only think we summon SP Little Knight, we definitely summon SP Little Knight. It is on the field, so that was something that was certainly not possible, so we will have to figure out with those new cards. Of course, we all know it. Sometimes we miss a sentence or two, and then we are in that misery where we have to rewind. But good thing we catch it now. I'm pretty sure that is what the judges are on right now, and then we will look into whether we can rewind this. But we will definitely be presenting you with the solution that they are going to have to this. But yeah, those new cards always tricky, of course.
And I mean, this is the two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
Because you expect your opponent to not know your cards, but also you're not very familiar with the new strategies. So yes, some mistakes like this may happen, and it's logical.
Okay, guys. What's your take on Radiant Typhoon so far? What do you like about the deck? What are you curious if you're going to be able to fix it?
I like Harpy's Featherstorm. I think that card interacts really well with the deck. I think wonderfully used in game number 2, even thrice. That was massive.
Impressive, yes.
But I think maybe there is something else that is not Runics, because Runic really is the one that jumps in front of you right away when you read the Radiant Typhoons. You're like, oh yeah, you gotta combine this with Runics. But maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something that we're missing. Maybe there is just, maybe you only need to play a couple quick spells.
Sebastian, what about Sky Striker with a big Radiant Typhoon package? Because I think that could work. Yes, you will have to work around the problem of using the main monster zone with your monsters. But if you're playing this big of a Link deck, you can kind of fix that issue. And I would like a more explosive version of the deck and also a bigger field. Actually, bigger field, you have your main deck monsters in the main monster zone, and then you have your Sky Striker spells. Maybe this needs a little bit of tweaking.
And then, but we can access Hayate at least.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you also locked into wins. That's a thing. Yeah,
Hayate. Yes.
Hayate, cool. Okay, all right. But the deck definitely has some potential, but as it is with those new decks, it still needs some tweaking. It still needs some testing on what's the best variant, on what is possibly to be paired with it, and therefore I think it's too early to say that. I think it's already a good approach pairing it with the Runics, but we will see maybe even in this weekend, but also maybe just in the upcoming weeks, what else there is to be had. But going a little away from the Radiant Typhoons, what are the other things you are most excited for from Doom of Dimensions, which of course is legal for the first time here this weekend? What is the one thing or maybe the two things you like the most from that set, Mike?
So I think that we talk a lot about how Masmao Yami has affected the meta and how it changed the deck. But I want to see also Dracotail how we'll adapt to it.
Fair.
Because we saw that it gained a very good support also with an extra main monster in an extra monster, and also an extra trap.
Yeah, Dracotail Sting is good. Yeah, honestly, the trap card is nice.
Yes, and I want to see how it will adapt to the current meta state, meaning that adjusting your opponent and playing with their graveyard, it's very, very crucial, especially for Dracotail, who had not a way, apart from other options, to interact with their opponent's graveyard.
Okay, okay, listen. Yes, okay, Dracotail, Marshmallow, Yummy, crazy card. Megalith.
Good shout,
the
good
new
shout.
Megalith cards are insane. Have you read them? I can't remember the name right now, but I just read them. It was like, there's one effect, another effect. This is everything you wanted from those cards is on there. And I think at some point we might see a Megalith deck, because first of all, people probably have not read all the cards yet.
Surely not.
And second of all, there is some ceiling to this deck.
It is. When you're already on the Megalith train, try that out in Genesis format together with Block Dragon. Bro, I'm just saying, Megalith or Block Dragon.
Basti's cooking again.
Yeah, usually that doesn't end well, but you should maybe try it out. But yeah, that's definitely cool. And also, I think Sulfur Cord has a reasonably decent... it can do reasonably decent things now as well with the new support cards, because it's got 3 new cards in Doom of Dimensions, and before that it was more of a fun deck, but I think it can be competitively viable as well, which we are of course trying to see whether that actually is going to transfer into possibly even a day 2 appearance, a stream appearance here at YCS Lille. I like it.
But talking again for Radiant, I want to say that I really loved how Mystical Space Typhoon was adjusting to the current meta state, meaning that a lot of spell and traps are only in the main phase. So I like the fact that you can deal with them during the standby, during the draw phase, or even the battle phase. And it was very crucial, for example, in the Mitsurugi matchup, to see that you can just destroy your opponent's spell trap cards without even giving the opportunity to your opponent to chain them.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Also, I got up some cards that would lose to Mystical Space Typhoon, arguably. The Megalith Anastasis. You can't see it right now, but I have it up here. This card, continuous spell card, lets you discard a card and add 2 Megalith cards. Crazy already, right?
It's negated by Mystical Space Typhoon, though.
Exactly, it actually does. But this card also has another effect. Okay. You can, when a Megalith card is summoned, you can either draw 2 cards and then discard one, or tribute a monster from your opponent's side of the field. This is a continuous spell card. It does that all the time. It keeps on doing that. This card is insane.
I like it, yeah. No, Megalith is... Actually, Doom of Dimension is just like a whole toolbox of different support cards for all kind of different decks. Like, everyone just got a little piece, and like everyone just got a couple more cards. Could add like 1, 2, or 3 cards even to their deck, to their most favorite deck. So I think it's not like introducing... Wait, there's one more thing that is introduced, though. Doom's Ad? Like those cards, maybe they are going to have an appearance as well. I have not seen them at any of the tables, but I think they have some massive potential as well. So maybe we are going to see them too this weekend.
I mean, I think it is one of those sets that give the opportunity to a lot of decks to higher their ceilings, right?
Yeah.
And giving to old and new strategies the support that needed.
And I like that they took over some effects. You know, Habakiri, reveal a ritual monster and then profit off of this. New Megalith card. I know I'm talking about Megalith again. Notra Plura, you can reveal this card, and then your opponent for the rest of the turn can't react to your Megalith monster effects anymore.
So Leo, what do you like more, Megalith or Radiant Typhoon?
Oh.
Because before the round, I can tell you, there were some glow in Leo's eyes, and he was using the words, "It is now my most favorite deck of all time," regarding the Radiant Typhoon deck. How impressed are you so far, though? Okay, I see. We're on Megalith now. Yeah, life changes quickly and fast sometimes, right?
You're just getting back at me for calling you out on the Ninja decks that you never played. He said so many times Ninja was his favorite deck. No, I like Radiant Typhoon, but I agree with you that you will have to find some more different solutions to this deck, because not being able to attack all the time, if you're playing with a lot of main deck monsters, tough.
I found a solution to our game, though. Judges are ready. Game state is repaired. So let's go back to the table, back into the action here for Game 3.
Massive shoutouts to the judges there. We could see it on our other screen. Very complicated scenario to reverse this game state, but they did it with a great job here. So phenomenal. And now...
Okay, we can use the Flashing Fire on the IP Masquerena. And we get to use the effect of Runic Fountain now too, drawing 3 cards. I mean, those are now just different cards that we're getting to draw. Let's see.
That is crazy. All right, Kristoffer is now cutting the deck. Let's see what Florian gets.
Oh.
Maybe those are the cards that he always wanted.
1, 2, 3. Can we work with this, Florian? Is this what we were desiring? It looks like we just passed. Okay.
Yeah.
No activations, no further activations. I mean, there's not much we can go into because the Hugin cannot be linked off, as we just saw. So we will have to pass on this. And now it's on Kristoffer. Does he start with the Aspidal Knight again? He was already trying to do that last turn, but this time maybe it is his move. Aspidal Knight, when using a ritual monster, just doesn't really help you though, right? Because it cannot use its own summon effect. Okay, Mitsurugi Prayers. I don't think he's tributing. Did he tribute anything?
Kusanagi.
Oh, the Kusanagi. Okay, yeah, it's in the graveyard there. Right.
I mean, right now you don't need to access your SP Little Knight to deal with Fountain, since you have a lot of resources on the field and you can go for game. And it's not only the motions on the field, but also I think 4 or 5 cards in the hand. So I think right now Kristoffer can extend a lot and go for game. However, it also depends on Florian's hand, if he has a runic card and if he activates it to draw new cards, and we can see a potential new game state.
Maybe we have reached a point again, though, where Kristoffer is possibly overwhelmed by his options. It feels like he has his entire deck in his hand. So he might as well... let's see. I trust in Kristoffer that he can capitalize on those situations.
He is a seasoned duelist for sure, so he will find a solution to this. I am almost certain. Checks the graveyard here from Florian again. Doesn't want to make a mistake, but that is a Link summon. Is that still SP Little Knight, or do we just go into Dynamondo here, maybe? It is the Dynamondo, of course. And that can also just go after the Runic Fountain. That's what we do. No response even. That's crazy. Because that means there probably is no more Runics in the hand of Florian.
And I mean, in this scenario, when you don't have Fountain on the field, you can play so much freely, because now you don't fear potential new draws or potential interaction yet that you don't know about. And I think right now Kristoffer is in a very, very good spot.
I was surprised that he did not tribute the Murakumo from his field to summon it back and then destroy something and setting a card before, so the Radiant Typhoon.
No, we're not having a problem with the Crusea again. It looks like we're in the battle phase. You got to be kidding me. No. We already had that situation game 1, Kristoffer. You read that Crusea. It cannot be destroyed. Wait. Do we have Mystical Space Step in the graveyard? We have, right?
We can activate. It depends on your opponent not having spell or trap cards.
Oh, also true. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, wait. Also, I think it's also with Mystical Space Step on the trap card. That's right. Wait, now I have to read the card again. I'm going to get it up for you guys at home as well.
I think
it's only no spell traps.
In main phase 2 again.
I think he might just think this card cannot be destroyed by spell or traps. Or attacks.
Magatama would have been the easy answer to this, but we did not find it. So turn goes back to Florian. Only 7.5 minutes remaining. That's not very much, and we have found another tool. We have found another vision, so that can provide us with more cards. And we're drawing 2 cards. Here we go.
Florian is picking up even more resources. This is again a turn where he might not have a battle phase, which is funnily enough playing against the evenly matched that he just picked up. But now he would have to probably discard another Visions, right?
But to be fair, his hand has 3 dead draws, right? And with discarding another card, right now, there's only 1 live card, to be fair.
Ooh, sets a card. That's not a great sign. And we're passing back over. Or at least we're trying to end the main phase.
Now Dynamondo activates here and gets back the Murakumo. Now you have plenty of cards in your spell trap zones. Crusea gets destroyed. Kristoffer gets to draw a card. 1 set card. 6 minutes left remaining. Kristoffer has plenty of attack points on the field. Not quite enough to go for a game because IP Masquerader's attack is quite measly, but
okay,
we're just attacking.
I mean, we surely have prayers, right? And then prayers can just make this enough attack points overall.
And I think that Kristoffer had just drew into an impulse, so we can see Florian.
Oh, even that, yeah, that's crazy.
I would believe that Florian would activate the runic spell that has set in order to special summon from the extra deck, and then impulse will play a very crucial role if Kristoffer indeed drew into impulse.
So, checking the graveyard, but if there is Mitsurugi prayers, this is an easy way to just seal this. We're not summoning back the Murakumo with the prayers, but we're summoning it back with its own effect, and then it can, in fact, attack again, bypassing the restriction of our prayers. It is Dominus Impulse and the win for Kristoffer Nielsen. Ultimately, pure Mitsurugi, still undefeated here, and still a threat to maybe win the entire thing this weekend.
Radiant Typhoon could not compete with these hand traps. Dominus Impulse in Game 1, it was the decider of the match. In Game 3, it sealed the deal. I don't want to say it decided the match, because I think that was the overwhelming amount of cards that Kristoffer Nielsen had there. I think in total, counting field, hand, 13 cards.
I mean, Funnily enough, I think game one, it might have actually been the pot of extravagance. Like, that was hilarious that his own pot of extravagance sort of negated the bamboozling. That was bamboozling to me, really.
I don't even think he realized, because he played around it so well. He used the ritual and sent Aramasa, which is, at this point, when you're already playing, Aramasa is not the most useful card that you can search. Sometimes you get a Futsu, but if you put it on Chainlink 3, and your opponent goes, okay, bamboozling Gossip Shadow, you draw a card instead. That's so much better.
Yeah. And I mean, Pot of Greed with Chalices sounds a really strong card, to be fair.
Good combination, for sure. It is a decent combination, not gonna lie. But in the end, you in the beginning said that it may still be a problem with Runic, that timeout can be an issue. And we were really, really close to timeout here again. So I'm wondering how often that is still applying, how often we're still worried about this, because those situations, those moments where he just had to pass his turn because there was no battle phase, we could really feel it, right? He was always like, yeah, well, skip battle phase, it's your turn again.
Don't forget, there was 5 minutes added extra to the rounds. We are playing with 50 minutes now, and those actually made a difference right there, because we were almost hitting the 45-minute mark, but those extra 5 minutes, they do make a big difference.
Oh, those are nice, yeah.
To be fair, with the new time rules, a new skill that has been come up in our mind is that knowing where you are in disadvantage and knowing where to scoop, because the time is clocking and you really need to get to the point that, yes, I cannot win this game, so I need to go to the next one, so time is not on the round. And it's very important for a Runic player to know exactly the situation and the position that he's going to win or lose in order to play accordingly.
Yeah, I think the skill always already was needed, like having that skill was always good, but it's more important than ever before, for sure, now with the update that we got. And it's just important that the players do realize those moments, not only with Runic, I think with any kind of deck in the room. Like a game where you think you're not very likely to win, I think sometimes you just have to like calculate the odds. Okay, if I have a 15% chance to win this game, is it really worth investing? Is it really worth investing the 20 minutes that I have to put into it there? Or do I just rather scoop and take the 70-30 that I have game 3 when I go first?
I think sometimes it gives you a mentality boost as well, when you're like, okay, well, I should scoop this game. This is not looking too great. And you're not spending too much time in a game that feels you can't get out of a trap or something that your opponent has set up. You're like, okay, I can't really do too much here. You just get out of there. Don't play this. Don't be sad about it. Just play the next game and try to win that one.
However, to be honest, as we saw in game 2, despite having 3 Harpy Featherstorm in your face,
it took so long,
all the time negating the Morse effect, still we can see that Kristoffer could also have some spots in order to steal the game and win this situation.
But there was no battle phase, and until the first Harpy's Feather Storm was activated, when there was a battle phase, Kristoffer scooped immediately.
He was just waiting for that moment where finally there would be the battle phase, and that I don't even think he had to go to battle phase eventually, right? Like, he was just already, he got the concede when there would have been a possible battle phase, essentially, which was very good for him that he finally got to seal that one. And I think you are sort of relying also on your opponent to realize that, right? As a Runic player, you need your opponent to sometimes just scoop because, please, let's just go into the next game, There
was like a very close moment where he almost lost. He wanted to activate these freezing curses that took away a battle phase from him, but also then gave his opponent the chance to activate a prayers. But he didn't need the prayers. He won regardless, even though there were Harpy's Feather Storms en masse activated in that match. Let's hear it from Kristoffer Nielsen.
And we are with the winner of the last round. What a game it was, what a match it was, and you managed to take it all, to take the victory, the 3 points. I mean, you must be exhausted because it was a very, very long game.
Yeah, I'm really exhausted after the match. To be honest, I'll be honest with you right now, I didn't know what any of his cards did. I'll tell you honest, like, my friends back home probably think it's pretty funny as well, like when you're watching the feature and stuff like that, but I thought he was playing Sky Strike when he activated the first card in the first turn. I faced that the round before. It's like, okay, I know what this stuff doing, I know prepared. And then he starts some of the small things. It's like, no idea.
Okay, so I get it. I was about to ask you that question because, I mean, the Radiant Typhoon is a new deck, and usually we see this card with the Sky Striker cards, but then you saw the big monsters in the hand. Like, so what was your thought at that moment?
It's like I was a little confused what he's playing, but in the end I got the grab of it, what he was playing and tried to do, and then I played really bad game 1, but at the end of the day, like, it's stressful being in feature. It's been a while, so everybody makes mistakes, but at the end of the day, I got the win. But when he 3-time Harpy's Feather Storm in game 2, I was like,
I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
like,
was a hard one.
Once was okay, and then twice, that's like, and then three's like, okay, you got this, well, you have it.
And then the third game was very interesting because we saw a lot of interaction between the two of you, especially in the battle phase because he tried to attack over the IP, but you still managed to get a pretty strong field. We also saw the meows. How does meow affect your deck?
It's not really, like you said, I gave him one draw and I contribute still my Mitsurugi, the big one, so I don't really have to give him multiple draws.
The microphone a little bit.
Oh, my bad.
No
so yeah, that's why like in the end like I did that instead. Like so, I didn't really. It's okay against my version, but if I play with the Fiend's mid cards, it's a little bit harder to play through that, obviously. But
still, you managed to get the victory. We are not gonna take long because the next round is already around the corner. So we are gonna let you prepare for that round. And at home, don't go anywhere because we are going to get some action real soon.
Stay tuned.